All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Eddy Live Show, episode number 182. I'm here with international DJ Freya Fox.
What's up?
How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. I've been wanting to get you on the show for a long time, and lucky for me, you made your way out to Taiwan. Yeah.
Yeah, on a whim.
On a whim. Yeah. Well, tell me about that, because that was kind of like, I follow you on Facebook and all your social things, and then all of a sudden you're like, boom, I'll be there next month.
Right. No, it was actually next week. That's what I said.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a next week kind of thing. I literally decided a week before coming here to come. I don't know. There's just it was really it was almost like an emergency. It was like a mental health thing for me.
Okay.
Because I felt my mental health just going down the drain being in the U.S. and
where are you? New York side? Vegas. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but it's interesting you said New York because I just came back from New York. So it was like because I was on tour for 4 months and then New York was the last show that I had booked basically.
Okay.
So I did New York middle of January and then after the New Year, basically after Chinese New Year, I just felt like really burnt out and there was just a lot of stuff going on in the U.S. that was just making my mental go down, like things that happened in San Francisco and L.A. And I was actually near that shooting event that happened in L.A. And it was scary because I was actually going to go out that night to that area, Hacienda Heights. Okay. And luckily I didn't. So I was just like, oh my God, like all these different things bringing me down mentally. And I just thought I need a break. Like I need to go to the place that I love the most, which I consider my second home. So
that's awesome.
I just went on a whim and now I'm here. I've been here for a while.
Yeah. So, I mean, originally, what did you come to Taiwan to do? That was how many years back?
2016. So 7 years.
Okay.
It's a long time ago. I can't believe it now. Like
Time flies, right?
It just flew. And I stayed here for a little bit over a year. Mm-hmm. I came for a job to be a marketing director.
Nice.
For a 3D printing company. And then after that, I kind of quit. I wasn't really happy with the job. And so I just started freelancing, doing web design. And I also sang for money to make money. So I was like doing bars. I was always at Triangle. So shout out to my Triangle fam in Yuanshan. I love it there.
Beautiful.
And I was singing there and I did like random events singing and stuff to make money. So
awesome.
I don't really know why I came initially other than to learn Chinese and just not be in San Diego anymore. Like I just thought I'm young, why not move?
I think it's great. I mean, I think more people should try it, right? I mean, for example, when you're young, you're single, you can kind of try things, right? And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but it does, it does. It's pretty cool. I kind of had a similar thing where I came out here and planned on coming maybe 1 or 2 years, and this past December was 20 for me.
years.
Yeah,
so you told me on Facebook, 20 years.
It's
I was
crazy.
Like, there's no way he's been there that long.
It's crazy. Time flies, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Came here in like 2002, like December. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, I just came out for a couple years, basically. I went to do police in Canada, RCMP. I passed all my tests, got all the way to the end, and I failed the final interview because I was too young and I didn't have like the life experience that they were looking for, which was, have you been stabbed? And I'm like, or have you seen anyone stabbed? And I'm like, no. So I'm not supposed to share that, but maybe anyways. So so I was like, well, what should I do? They said you can reapply in 2 years. So I finished up my job and I said I'm going to come here for 1 or 2 years, and then 1 or 2 years went by and I was like, this is way more fun than my country. So I stayed. Yeah.
And then you stayed.
I stayed. Yeah.
Taiwan has that weird effect on people.
It is. Yeah, it does. It totally does. Yeah. Yeah. Is there something that you missed about Taiwan mostly while you were over there?
Oh man, the food? For sure.
What's
the convenience.
first dish?
First dish, ji pai.
Okay.
For sure.
That's
and
crazy.
Xiaolongbao.
Okay.
Xiaolongbao is really expensive in the U.S. So in Vegas, it averages $18, $20 for eight Xiaolongbao.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
It's like $3 here. So
that's crazy.
It's a no-brainer to eat it every day.
Yeah,
I wouldn't get tired of it.
That happens. That's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was kind of setting up my questions and stuff for you, it's tough because you have so many things that you're doing that you're good at.
Yes.
Like sort of the crypto group, right? And then the live streaming video games, and then the DJing, and then there's a whole bunch of things. Right. So like what when someone says, what do you do? What can maybe you can answer, because it's hard for me to answer that.
What do I do?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
DJing mostly. I think that's my main focus.
Okay.
I mean, I'm still always a gamer, right? Like, I think I'm always a gamer at heart, and gaming obviously influences my music, and I can't say that I don't do that. I mean, I always play video games, and I'm always streaming it. I'd say my live content is mostly me playing video games, not so much DJing and stuff like that. Because I like to save the sets and live performances for people to come to my show. You know, it's kind of like a comedian or a magician. You know, you give them tidbits, but you want people to come to the show, and you don't want to reveal everything. So,
of course.
So to supplement the content, gaming is like my live content and stuff. But I think most of the stuff that I have to put out on TikTok or Instagram is all DJ related, and try to further my music career.
It's really cool. So with like the live streaming with gaming, I mean, how did you start doing that? I mean, everybody's dream is to kind of play video games and make money, right? So how does that work out? My daughter also, she has her little channel, and she does
I see her gaming right now. She's over there gaming.
It's so hard to get her off of that. When I had her, I had like, you know, she's 11 now, so I had like a PS3 and all of the old ones, and then I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna sell them. So I put them all on like the equivalent of eBay, basically Facebook Marketplace.
You're right.
Sold everything, you know, for not very much. I'm like, okay, good. No, we don't game. And then we went to Canada to visit my nephews and my family, and then all they did was play Switch. And then she was just like, boom, hooked. Yeah, Dad, I want a Switch. And then it's just like, now we stream Roblox together.
Now you stream Roblox.
Yeah.
So how did I get into it? It's a really good question. I think it was an accident. It actually has to involve Taiwan too. So I think it's weird because everything involves my time here and just gets connected. So after I left Taiwan, I kind of left also on a whim because just things happened and a lot of bad circumstances forced me to come back home. So when I came back home, I was living with my parents, and I was really depressed because I didn't plan to ever come back to the U.S. I had kind of tried to set up my life to be here forever. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? I don't have any money. I'm broke. I'm depressed. Let's play video games and stream.
Yeah.
Because that's the logical thing to do.
It's
I don't
so
know.
fun.
I mean, it didn't seem so logical back then. I think a lot of people might think that's a logical thing to do now. Like, why don't you just try to connect with people online and broadcast your life or whatever? But this was 2017, so Twitch had barely started, 3-4 years earlier than that. So it wasn't like it was a big thing. So I kind of just fell into it, you know. And Fortnite, I think Fortnite was a thing because it came out October 2017. I'll never forget it. It was Halloween night, and everyone was talking about this new battle royale coming out, and they're saying, oh, how much of a joke it is. It's a children's game. PUBG will be the king forever, blah, blah, blah. Just things like that. I was like, no. First movers always have the advantage. And I think that's my motto in life is be a first mover. So I was like pretty new on Twitch, and very new to streaming Fortnite. Like Ninja wasn't even streaming at the time. Myth and a bunch of the other old pros were streaming on it, and I'd see them in the game. So I kind of grew from there, from being a first mover and also just being a depressed young person in my 20s, you know, just like not knowing what to do with my life. I was just like, I'm going to go live, see if people care. And I started realizing a lot of people care, and they like my content, and I was good at it. So then Facebook Gaming came along a few months later as an opportunity, and that was a new platform. Again, first mover is the name of the game.
Yes.
And I thought, okay, everyone's on Twitch, no one's on Facebook, time to try Facebook Gaming, and that's when everything skyrocketed. I got a contract, they offered me a guaranteed salary, and I got to play Fortnite for a living, and it was insane.
That's the dream right there. Oh my gosh.
It was a dream, yeah.
It's crazy because my daughter, like, for example, going like at home, we don't have like cable TV or anything. We just have like the smart TV or the computer hooked up to the TV, and we basically just watch YouTube or like we do have Netflix, but it's usually on YouTube or like Facebook Gaming or Facebook Watch or something. And I was with my daughter when she was younger, and I'm like, why are you playing? What's going on? She's like, no, I'm watching someone play. And I was like, for me as an old guy, I'm like, that's weird. And then we started to watch. I'm like, oh, this guy's pretty good, you know. Oh, this is great, you know. And then, I mean, she basically grew up watching people game on YouTube, and so when she started to play, she just would play and just narrate the whole thing, just because she thinks it's normal. Like, because that's what everybody does.
That is what they do,
Yes, everybody narrates, and they're, and then they say funny things and stuff like that. And I have this 5-year-old at the time, and she's doing that while she's playing a video game. And I'm like, who are you talking to? And she's like, nobody. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm playing a video game. And I'm like, why are you talking? And she's like, well, that's what people do. They talk when they play. And I was like, oh. So I'm like, okay, well, let's put a mic in her face and see what happens. And yeah, it's pretty. She loves it. She's good at it. It's good. That's her dream as well.
I'm glad you're nurturing that dream, because it's a dream that can come true.
Yeah.
To so many people. I think a lot of parents, they think it's a joke, but it's not a joke.
No, mine did. When I used to game big time when I was a little kid with, like, back in the day, Nintendo and stuff like that.
NES.
And then it's NES, and everyone's like, turn that off. No one's going to pay you for that. And then it's like, lo and behold, 20 years later.
How wrong.
That's crazy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good word of advice for people. I think in general now is like, don't ever say that you can't make money doing something, because it's like, you never know when you're going to eat your words in the future. It's
crazy. There's YouTubers that, like, live in a van and just drive around, and they record, and they're like, they got million subs. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And they're millionaires.
That's what they do. They make money by making videos of them driving around in their van and stuff. It's crazy. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, like, the DJing career, right? So that has been going for a long time. Was that before the gaming or after, or kind of?
Yeah, so it was actually before gaming, believe it or not. A lot of people don't know that I had a DJ business when I was 17.
Oh,
so
nice.
From 16, 17-ish to about 21, I was a full-time, like, wedding events kind of DJ.
Nice.
So I had a mobile DJ company growing up, and it wasn't like I fell into that either. I wasn't like, my parents aren't like super rich or anything. I don't want people to think like that's what happened. It actually was contrary to that. I saved up all my allowance money that they gave me. They would give me like $20 a week or something.
Yeah.
And then I convinced them to help me invest in, like, some speakers and, like, a DJ controller thing, because I wanted to do it. And then we did. And I started to get really good at it, and we started having a lot of clients in San Diego, and eventually I built it up to where almost every high school and college and wanted me to DJ their events. Like, we could not meet the demand. So my
you
parents,
can't clone yourself.
And I couldn't clone myself. Yeah. So it was just like people would fight for the contracts, and I was like, maybe I could be really good at this. And but then that's how I kind of put myself through college, and then I don't know. I just stopped doing it. It's a lot of work, to set up speakers, and I mean, you set this all up, so you know how annoying it is to set up sound. For sure. Imagine a whole wedding full of cables and heavy speakers and things and that, and it's just not easy to do. And my dad was getting older, so he couldn't help me as much. So it was just kind of like, okay, time to do something else. And so that kind of laid dormant until now, I guess. And so I've reinvented it into being an actual producer and doing clubs and festivals and things like that. I've always been a music producer. Like, I had a high school band.
So cool.
I always produced music as a kid. I begged my parents for a MacBook, like, when they first came out in 2006. I'm dating myself by saying that, but I did get one eventually.
Don't worry, I got you beat there. So
yeah, I know you got me beat, but still dating myself saying I used the first MacBook.
Okay.
Like, not even the Pro, guys. The first MacBook. We had a GarageBand, and I would borrow my friends who could afford it, because I couldn't afford it, and just record on it.
So cool.
And that's how I learned. And then I didn't really make EDM because it wasn't accessible at the time. You still needed to have expensive synthesizers and things like that. It's not like now you just open up Ableton, open up Logic, and you've got all the stuff at your fingertips. So that's why I kind of started doing it now recently, because I had the money to afford the gear, but two, I think it's also just more accessible,
Okay. I think when you do something like this, I mean, how important is, like, the content quality compared to, like, the gear? Because there's always that, like, you know what I mean? Like, I got tons, the gear. I mean, like, for me, people come in like, oh my God, you got such great gear. But I mean, like, I live in Taiwan. I don't have a car.
True.
Like, I don't need a car. Like, we have a scooter. We live like 10 minutes away walking. I mean, we don't own a house because we live in Tianmu, and it's like $1 million US for a shoebox. You know? It's
true.
It's crazy. So.
Yeah, if you guys think New York's bad, wait till you see Taiwan prices, guys.
It's crazy. Yeah. So I'm like, well, this is what I like. Yeah.
How much of the gear is? I mean, I don't know. It's like, it's a mix, because obviously you need to have good audio. I think that's the most important thing.
100%.
But aside from that, I think the rest is icing on the cake.
Okay.
You could invest in the lights, the cameras, the fancy, everything. But if you don't have a good microphone, then I think that's that's it. Like, you need to, because people want to hear you and they want to hear you clearly. And when I went to film school in college, that was the number one thing they taught us is everything else could suck, but if your audio sucks, no one will watch.
That's true. That's true. And I have to compliment you because you don't know how many big like YouTubers, influencers that I've had on, and they talk with the mic like this, and they're talking like this.
Because they don't record themselves.
And I'm like, dude, put the mic in your face.
Yeah, it's like, a dynamic mic. You need to talk into it and loudly.
Or we'll have, you know, like two people, and they'll be kind of like this.
Yeah.
They'll talk to each other like that, and I'm like, kind of like, that's why I actually got these, because I'm like, I'll just start stuffing it in their face. I'm like,
Right.
That's crazy.
And you can't have a condenser mic because it's too loud because you're in an actual live restaurant.
So when I started this, I actually had like a blue Yeti.
Yeah.
And I was just sensitive. Like, because, you know, you're like, you know, you Google, at that time, a few years ago, when you do the research, everybody's like, oh, you got to get a blue Yeti. So I got one.
Say it.
Yeah, so I got one, and I mean, you could hear all the dishes being washed and all the buses and everything. Yeah. It was crazy. It was crazy for sure.
The buses are loud here.
The buses are very loud.
That obnoxious noise.
It's true. It's true. So quickly, let's touch a little bit on like the crypto, right? I know crypto. Everyone's like, oh, crypto's down, blah blah blah.
It is.
But so I mean, how did that start? Like sort of an investing sort of deal.
Actually started 2013.
Ooh,
so that was a long time ago. Really long ago. Wow, it's 10 years ago.
First mover again.
Yeah, first mover into Bitcoin. Bought 8 BTC with my uncle, and I still don't know where that BTC is. It's somewhere out there.
Okay.
I prayed one day that I figure out what wallet it got sent to or where I wrote the key or whatever.
Okay.
So that's been my lifelong goal to actually find those Bitcoins.
Find the BTC.
Find the 8 BTC is 8.5, I think, to be precise. So at the peak, it was worth 750,000 or something.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
So
it's gonna go back up.
I'm sure it'll go back up soon, 2024, hopefully, when Lambo.
Yeah, when Lambo, bro.
Yeah, hopefully
right?
Lambo 2024.
Yeah.
So I started then, and then I didn't really touch it because it was his and mine, and he said he'd give me a share, but then we could never find it. Then 2017, 2016 came around, I was in Taiwan, and I remembered, hey, we bought Bitcoin a long time ago. Because I think that was the first time Bitcoin hit multi-thousands. Maybe it was 3 or 6,000. Maybe it went to 10, 2016, I don't remember.
Yep.
So then I started getting interested in again, and mining kind of became more accessible. So we started mining Monero, Ethereum in Taiwan.
Okay, really?
And and then that's where I got the resurgence for it. And then, of course, there was the bull market at that time, which was like EOS and a bunch of the old coins kind of launched during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I got interested in it, and then nothing happened, and then 2020 happened, and we all know what happened then.
Yeah,
Everyone went to the moon.
Yeah, for sure. They had like a Squid Game coin, and that was just like boom, and then it just
Elon
dropped
Doge Mars.
Yeah, crazy, right? Yeah, so many of those, Shiba Inu and
yes.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, yeah, beautiful. And so now you're still hodling some coins.
I'm still hodling. I'm extremely bullish on Avalanche. And extremely bullish on some of the AI coins like GRT. And of course, I always have ETH. I mean, you gotta hold something. I'm not so much of a Bitcoin maxi, but definitely super bullish on ETH because of its utility. And I really like whatever, like Tezos is really interesting to me because of the music NFT part. And I'm not as bullish and crazy about crypto as I was before after getting rugged so many times. And
I had that too. Ask my wife. She's like, no,
no
crypto. I'm like,
yeah. That's what happened. So I've got rugged way too much money. I won't say what it is, but it's a lot. It's like life savings amount of money. And I just thought, maybe I gotta take a step back and reevaluate and just play it safe. And so I'm still interested in it from a utility standpoint, especially with music NFTs, because I think that's a really unique way for artists and creators to monetize outside of Spotify. Obviously, everyone knows streaming doesn't pay you jack. You don't get paid anything.
Yeah.
So to be able to sell stuff through Ethereum or through Tezos or whatever network you choose, and have your fans fund you directly and be able to earn from it, I think
that's cool.
That's a really cool emerging technology that I think creators and musicians should not sleep on. Even if you hate crypto, you think it's a big scam, there's nothing that is to be lost, I think, by getting onto that.
Trying it, right? So how do you think it compares to like the traditional like stocks and stuff like that? Because we have in this area, luckily there's a lot of like high rollers. And then when I start to chat about it, they're like, no, crypto's bad. And then they talk about stocks.
Really?
And I don't know much about stocks, but aside from what I learned.
So you get a lot of people on here that talk about stocks?
Not on the podcast, but in the restaurant.
Oh, in the restaurant.
Stocks, no. I mean, I would be lost. I would be like, it would just be a one-way conversation if it was a stock.
I am honestly lost too.
Okay,
I don't have any. I don't think I have anything to say.
That makes me feel better. That makes me feel
about
better.
stocks.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a stonks kind of person with the memes.
Gotcha. Beautiful. So, right now you're streaming live, right?
Yes.
On TikTok.
On TikTok.
Okay, so TikTok is one that sort of like the older generation guy like myself doesn't really know what to do with, like how to promote it when it came out, and every time I would go on it, it's just like people dancing and stuff, and I'm I'm like in my 40s, I can't dance like that. I don't want to. So what is your opinion? Never too old.
What are you talking about?
Never. Yeah, that's true.
Tiesto was 53.
I could do that. I know I could.
Tiesto is 53. Still DJing, still partying, still dancing.
I think it's fantastic. So what do you think about like what's your strategy for TikTok? Obviously, your TikTok is blown up, right?
Yes.
And I see your posts about all the cool stuff you're doing. Yeah, I've been following you for a long time. So tell me what a good TikTok strategy is.
A good TikTok strategy.
If it's okay to ask,
It's a really good question. I think no one's asked me about TikTok recently because I think the algorithm and the whole prevalence of TikTok has changed, right? It's not it's not so much about dancing anymore, which is what I think you described. As I think most people within your age group would say the same. It's a dancing app.
And then my daughter would use my phone and she would go on TikTok and she likes doing dancing
and
stuff.
She starts dancing.
So that's what she watches.
Yeah.
And so TikTok thinks that's what I'm watching. So it's all like 12-year-old girls dancing, and I'm like, I should probably delete this.
Right. So I don't want to be on the watch list, guys.
Exactly. So that's why I never really dove into it, because I figured because my daughter's always watching like dancing.
That's what TikTok is.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think because that's what people associated with in the mass media on an international level is what you think TikTok is, but I think it can be anything you want, right? Because when you look at the For You page, it's obviously, like you said, tailored to what you watch the most.
Gotcha.
So if you actively search out things that are within your niche and things that you're interested in, it's going to really know how to serve that to you.
Okay.
So keeping that in mind that's the right content strategy too. It's like it's like any marketing, like who are you trying to reach, who's your ideal audience, and what kind of content are they going to consume. That last question is probably the hardest part to answer for yourself without understanding TikTok, because if you don't watch short form video, and specifically the stuff that works on TikTok,
I do watch some, But
if you're trying to like niche down and look at things that would attract your audience, you have to be able to consume the content first in order to know what they're gonna like, you know. And I think that's the really hard part for people, is they don't know what to make. And I'm like, well, what would you watch? You know, and then start going through TikTok, and then if you start seeing videos that you like, you know, replicate that, because that's what works on the platform. And
beautiful.
Yeah, I don't really know, because it depends on which niche you're talking about.
No, that's cool. I mean, I got questions, right?
Yeah.
So how do you think, like, with like YouTube Shorts launching, and then like, you know, the Reels and Instagram and all that, they're all like, they're not the same, but they're all kind of like the vertical short form videos, right?
All trying to eat TikTok's pie.
Exactly. That's exactly what's happening. So do you think, I mean, what do you think of that? And what do you think about, so for example, filming one, like a TikTok, and then putting it, like, it seems like a lot of people are doing one, and then they just put it on Reels, and then they just put it on TikTok, and they just kind of like the same content to everything. What's your opinion on that?
I think it's actually going to end up badly for a lot of reasons. I think because YouTube, all these, I think we're going to come to a point where we're going to be oversaturated with short form video, and these other platforms are not going to be able to continue to compete with TikTok long term. And I say that only because they've forgotten their core audience. And I think anytime a business forgets their core audience, they fail. Yeah. If you look at Blockbuster, if you look at even Netflix now, if you look at, you know, so many companies, Snapchat even, you know, who was once valued at, you know, multi-billions. I think these companies have strayed so far away from their original intention that they are failing or will fail, or obviously we can name does Vine. Yeah, we can name hundreds of companies who have failed their initial product because they changed. So I think that's the case with YouTube, and that's maybe the case with Instagram. I'm not sure because they're a little bit more like multifaceted. They've always kind of had video, at least with IGTV, and kind of like video short after they launched the photos version of the app, which was the initial. But at the same time, I think the overarching voices that you'll hear from the creator community, at least, is, can you just go back to photos? And YouTube, can you just go back to long form?
Yeah.
You know, because that's what they're known for. And it's like, why would you, like, you're like a Mexican restaurant, would you start serving Italian food?
No, you know, it's a funny thing because so my story in a nutshell, we started with a stand, and then we went to a small restaurant, then like a medium-ish one. Then this one's kind of a medium-ish, large-ish one.
Yeah.
For this one, we had an investor that we bought out a little while ago.
Ooh.
And there was a time where it was slow. The restaurant would slow down. And that was before I got really, really into the, marketing with Facebook and ads and all that stuff. And he was like, you know what, we should add some Chinese food to the menu.
Ooh.
And I was like, what? And he's just like, oh, I mean, because we're in Taiwan and that's what people eat, right?
Right.
And I thought, oh my gosh, this is tough. Yeah. So great guy again. He, still a good friend still this day, but it's tough when you know your business.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know that much about that many things, but I know this business. I know Mexican restaurant in Taiwan.
Right.
And it's like if you start putting, other stuff on, it's tough. But like we do once in a while, throw a couple fusion things on there, like the Hakka taco, right? The Hakka pork taco.
Good.
I appreciate that. I'm really gonna start to push that because people
you guys gotta try it if you're in Taiwan.
The Hakka pork taco. So my wife is Hakka from Miaoli, right? And my mother-in-law always makes this Hakka pork, right? And it's just like kong roll, and she just always makes it. And I eat so much of it. And one day I just, like, maybe you can show me how to make it because they eat it on white rice, right? Of course, right? And I'm like, you know what? This on a taco with a couple different toppings would be amazing. And then everyone just kind of laughed. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to try it. So I learned it, and I tweaked and tweaked and tweaked. And then I was like, okay, I think I got it. Then we put it out. And people laughed. They're like, "What is this? You're making Chinese food now?" I'm like, "No, just one fusion dish."
Yeah.
We had been open for over 10 years, so I'm like, we can play a little bit after 10 years, I think. And we put it out, and people were just like, they laughed. And then we did an all-you-can-eat thing on Thursdays or Tuesdays, way back. And then people were like, okay, well, if it's all you can eat, I can try it, right?
Right.
And it became like our top seller, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, the Hakka pork taco is amazing.
Yeah.
We have people like, oh, you got to open a stand-up in freaking New York just selling Hakka pork tacos. And I was like, I
agree.
What? So it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
Not?
Yeah.
You should. I would go LA.
Yeah. I mean, LA,
because
right?
LA's got a lot of Taiwanese, so
that's right.
They would love it. That is such a good, I can't believe how good it is. Like,
I appreciate it. Yeah. So it's crazy. And the funny thing is, the last time I went back home, I brought the ingredients like the mijo and stuff, and I brought all that stuff. And I always, I cook with, my mom's a better cook than I am. And we all cook together. And then I'm like, I'm going to cook this one. So we did the Hakka pork, and everybody was like, even my Mexican family was just like, holy crap, this is so good.
Right.
And they're like, is it a good seller? I'm like, that's not the top seller. It's an all right seller. Like, you got to push this. This is so good.
Yes.
That's kind of crazy.
You got to push it. You need tons of marketing behind the Hakka pork.
The Hakka pork, yeah. Okay, so we got to put so I'll start doing, I'm going to take this video clip and be like, Hakka pork, Hakka pork.
Yes, endorsed by me. 11 out of 10.
Sounds good. I appreciate that. Awesome. Let me pull up some pictures, and we can talk a little bit about those, So I kind of did a little deep dive. Yeah, no, they're good. They're good pictures. Now you can just tell me a little bit about some pictures there.
Okay.
There you go. Boom.
So this picture, what do you want to know?
No, I mean, just think like, well, I mean, I just went through and I was like, I found some good pictures.
Thank you.
If there's anything behind the picture, let me know. If not, we'll keep going.
This picture, I did it. This is a social media promo to try to play at Hijinks Fest.
Okay.
Last year in, where is it? Pennsylvania, I think. So I unfortunately didn't get to win this. I came in last actually, and the one that got it was actually a Canadian from Toronto. Yeah, so he beat me out. They told me Canadian fans are just too strong. and they just all voted for him. He said he campaigned heavily in Toronto for it and got a majority of the votes.
That's great.
Interestingly enough, nobody got a lot of votes, but he just got the most votes. It was like everyone had like a few hundred votes. I had a few hundred. Other people had a few hundred. He had like 1,000, and they were all from Canada.
All from Canada.
They're all from Toronto. They all wanted to go to Pennsylvania and see him. And he's like the hometown hero. So, props to him for getting to play that show. But cool. I was really hoping I'd win that because I always wanted to play hijinks.
Canadians are very like, Tim, you have to go. No, you have to go to Tim Hortons. No, you have to go here. Yeah. And then, being Canadian and being like, no, you have to go. And then living here for 20 years and then going back to visit. And then you're like, oh, you go to Tim Hortons. And you're like, it's not bad.
I love Tim Hortons.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. But it's like, it's not what I remember it of like growing up being like, it's the end all,
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Getty Images.
Oh, from Getty Images.
That's a cool picture.
That's a great picture.
Yeah.
That's with Kim Lee from Bling Empire. So I don't know if you've seen Bling Empire on Netflix.
I see some of it. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So
yeah,
she's in there, and she was DJing at LA3C with me. So she came on actually, I think after my set or 2 or 3 hours after my set, and so I saw her backstage at her trailer, and I was like, "Hey Kim, let's take a pic together." She's super sweet. And then I didn't know that we were taking a picture for Getty Images.
That's
the
so
photographer
cool.
just came up. He's like, Kim, Freya, get together. And he just snapped a bunch of pics of us together. And that went all over the media. So that was
so
really cool.
Awesome. That's so awesome. I love it. I love how you're getting that first mover thing and you're just getting in all these right places at the right time. And it's just like, boom. That's the famous crosswalk in Ximending, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I just posted that. I love that. I love it there.
Yeah. So cool, right? Every time we go, it's a good picture spot, right?
Yes.
Ximending is one of my favorites. I love that area.
It's my favorite place.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
That was LA3C also. So I was pretty sure I was singing my Clarity remix in that shot because that was like towards the end, and I see there's a ton of people there. I couldn't believe how many people actually showed up.
That's awesome.
I was crying during this
so
scene.
Cool. It's so cool. Yeah, yeah. And that's such a great picture. It's almost like almost like a Freddie Mercury picture.
Yes.
It's like it's such a cool one. I had to include that.
I'm so happy they got it.
So good. I love it. This was hilarious. I laughed out loud like that.
This meme.
It's so good.
It's true.
And it's funny because I know the guy on the right. Yeah.
You do?
I mean, not the guy, but I know.
You know a guy like that.
A guy, like a whole bunch of guys
old hater
like that.
DJ guy.
It's so crazy.
There's so many of them.
It's so crazy. Oh my God, I love it.
The meme speaks for itself. You just got to read it, guys.
It's so good.
True.
It's so good. I saw that and I laughed, and I was, I'm sitting here prepping, laughing my ass off, and everybody's like, "What?"
I'm the Twitch DJ one for sure.
Sorry,
I had to put that one on there. You know, both of them are
so good. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. I love them.
This was LA3C also.
Okay.
A lot of good pics came from that.
Yeah,
so
apparently,
I'm happy.
yeah.
That was at the Knicks booth, and they had just like anyone could go up and take pictures there. They had a professional photographer.
So cool.
And they gave us free makeup. So who's gonna say no to free makeup?
That's so awesome. I love it. Yeah, free makeup. Let's go.
That was in Taiwan. That was recently. That's like 2 weeks ago. Recently. Then I got sick after that night.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was at Emily Len's. She was playing at Songshan Culture Park. At one of those warehouses there. Super cool. I never thought there'd be a warehouse techno rave in Taipei of anywhere in the world.
I didn't know that. Okay.
It's here. And that was my first techno show. I'd never been to a techno show. And what better place to put it in Taiwan than Taiwan? And then they had a CDJ set up there. And they're like, "You want to try it?" I'm like, "Yeah." So
yes.
Why not?
So good. So good. This is also recent, I think, right?
Yeah, that was a few weeks ago with Raina. You guys have to follow her. You guys probably seen her. Raina's crazy. The competitive eater. She's really known for eating crazy amounts of food and doing these challenges and stuff. So
I've seen some of. I also know Alice as well.
Yeah, it's Alice. So you know Alice.
Yeah, I saw her and I'm like, is that Alice?
Yeah, it's Alice. Yeah, I've known her for a few years through online, and then we finally met.
Rainbow Alice.
Yeah, that is Rainbow Alice. Shout out to her.
Yeah,
she's super sweet. So we got to all eat together, and it just happened to be a good coincidence that Raina was in town. So
cool.
We ate a chow together.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I love it. I love the collabness. Yeah. And that's Rauhe, right?
It is Rauhe. Yeah, we had
It's like the foodie night market.
It was a random foodie night market thing. She just messaged me. She's like, "Hey, I'm going to night market." I'm like, "That's funny. I was gonna go too." So that's us eating at Rauhe, and we tried the famous
pork pepper bun.
Yeah,
things?
pork pepper bun.
What'd you think?
It was okay.
It was okay, but was there like a crazy line?
There was a crazy line.
Crazy line.
Yeah,
right?
the hype from all the influencers definitely, it got people crazy for it. So lots of people were there. She rated it like a 5 out of 10, I think, and I was like a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
You'll see the vlog soon.
I enjoy it.
Where we talk about it, and we rate pretty much every food stall in there that we could eat. So we ate a lot of food during that vlog.
Well, I'll take the 11 out of 10 then every day on the Haka. Yeah.
Yes. And
then I always see your posts about getting verified and stuff. So
yes.
I always think that's such a cool thing. So now with Elon buying Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Oops, I don't know why we're cut off there. With I can go back here. Yeah, I mean, what is that about? What did you think of the whole Elon buying Twitter out type deal?
I thought it was inevitable when he first expressed the interest to do it.
Okay.
And I'm kind of neutral on it. Obviously he's done a lot of bad things with the mass firing without telling the state and things like that. Like those things I think are just not okay.
Okay.
But I can't hate him because he stuck to his guns. He said, if Twitter's going to censor me, I'm just going to buy it out. And he did. So you can't hate a man for sticking to his word and actually doing something about it, so yeah.
I thought it was hilarious when he went on Rogan and smoked the joint with Rogan. And then
that was great.
The stocks kind of went like boom, and then they went boom. It's like, it's crazy. Yeah.
So funny.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. Very cool. Very cool. So,
yes.
Maybe you talking your post. You talk like about Forbes and Rolling Stone and stuff like that.
Yes.
And you've got to do some stuff with them. Maybe you could talk a bit about that.
It was mostly because of LA3C too,
Okay.
because
Wow.
Penske Media owns LA3C, and that was their first time doing a festival that wasn't part of Life is Beautiful, which they also co-produce. And I guess just by nature, they featured everybody in their properties, and they own Rolling Stones, they own Billboard, they own Variety, Hollywood Reporter. I mean, they own a ton of media properties, so they put me and everyone else who was performing in it. They gave us press, so
that's so good. I love it.
I loved it. It was really good exposure.
That's so cool. I love that. So, being like kind of like a jack of all, like you're kind of, the video game and the crypto and everything. You seem to be pretty knowledgeable about all of this stuff. So, what's kind of like a typical day look like for you?
Typical day for me.
Yeah.
Well, when I'm not here, it's mostly in the studio producing music, and I try to structure out content days like maybe once or twice per week where I just batch film stuff.
Okay.
But I haven't been so consistent with that, to be honest. A lot of times I'm just filming every single day.
Okay.
Which is, I think, not the best idea.
It's
but
tough. It's like the hamster
tough.
wheel, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Just
oh my gosh.
when you do it that way, it feels like a hamster wheel. It feels like a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And I don't like the 9 to 5 feeling of that, of like waking up, oh, I got to film, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. Like I don't like that.
Uh-huh.
I'd rather just batch everything out, which I'm trying to switch over to that when I'm back.
Do you have any tips for the batch? Because that's kind of I see that strategy from like some of the big influencers. I mean, and that's such a cool thing.
It's a time efficient way to do things, and I think the tip is to prepare for it mentally, like every week. And one thing I do when I am in that kind of creation mode is I dedicate like Sunday or Monday to be content consuming day, because like I said earlier in the podcast, you need to consume the content that you want to make and know if it works. So I always set one day of the week to consume, and just let yourself be mindless. Like you just want to be dumb, like literally just sit there on your phone, just like scroll.
Okay.
But do it with intention too, and you're not just there to entertain yourself, but to see what works. And then what I do is I actually have like a spreadsheet. Market research. I have a spreadsheet, and I also just use Apple Notes sometimes to make it fast. I just copy it from TikTok directly, and I have a Reels to do for this month kind of thing. Okay. And then I try to do that for Reels or TikTok or whatever for content ideas, and then go back and rewatch them and see if that's something I can feasibly do.
Do you ever look at like some of the real like big trending sort of things like
yes.
For example, my daughter was like all about the Wednesday dance for a while, and then there was like the Megan dance, and I mean, she's never seen Megan, but she knows the dance, So it's like, do you have any? Yeah, what was your opinion on that?
I think identifying those trends before it happens is more important than jumping on them when they're happening.
First mover again.
You want to be first mover on it. And I think there are a lot of apps, too, that help you with this. There's like Trend Talk. There's like a whole bunch of other ones I can't think of, but Trend Talk is one that always comes to mind, where they tell you what's about to go viral by looking at analytical data that TikTok gives them through the API of like what's about to blow up, like that has this many people starting to use the sound or whatever. And another way is just to just be on the app enough and start seeing like, hey, are there a lot of people doing a certain trend or a certain sound? And if they are, then jump on it. The other way to do it, though, is I think knowing what's good in pop culture. So being very, very knowledgeable of what's happening on Netflix, on what's happening in anime, in sports, whatever, right? Like keeping up with the news, like Squid Game is a good example of it.
Squid Game, yeah.
So I never actually made content around it, which I regret, but I actually watched Squid Game the day it came out. Like,
so good,
I remember actually watching it pop up on Netflix. Like, we were just scrolling Netflix, and then all of a sudden it said a new thing is out, and then we binged it that night, and I was like, oh, this is gonna blow up. I didn't heed.
It blew up in the States. It blew up everywhere, right? Okay.
Whole world. And I didn't heed my own advice, unfortunately, because I was like, maybe I should make some content about this because I know this is going to be viral.
Yeah.
But I didn't. But, I mean, at least I caught it with Fortnite and a bunch of other trends.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to see, like, what are people talking about? Twitter's really good for that.
Okay.
Start seeing what people are tweeting about.
Beautiful.
And then you can identify trends.
That's really cool. Yeah, no, the Squid Game thing, this past, what was it, in January, obviously not on the trend, but so being in Taiwan, raising my daughter here, things like Christmas are not very, it's hard to make it like really Christmassy, right?
Right.
Or like Chinese New Year is one thing, but then like Easter and Halloween. Luckily, Tianmu has a pretty awesome Halloween.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's tough to do that. So on her birthday, like it's like we go all out every birthday. Like we did an Among Us in real life party a couple years ago, and then last year we just took the whole restaurant and we have like 7 TVs here. We had like old retro games on one, and then we had like Switch on another one, and then we had like a PS5 on another one where we rented, which was crazy. And then this past January, I was kind of running out of ideas, and I love Squid Game, right? She obviously hasn't seen Squid Game. She's a kid. But they all know, like, they have Squid Game in Roblox.
They do.
So she plays it in Roblox, right? So we did a Squid Game party, right? So I was a soccer coach for like most of my life, and so it was similar to like almost like a PE class sort of thing, where we just did we got this outdoor area, and we did like a Squid Game party, and we hired a professional like videographer and stuff, and it turned out so good. I'll send you a link. It's so good. Like it was awesome. It was so much fun, so much work, but it turned out pretty good in the end. Yeah.
Wow, that's excellent. That's
fun.
so cool that you actually implemented it.
It was so fun. It was obviously way too late on the trend, but season 2 is coming soon.
It's coming, so jump on the trend once you watch it.
Season 2 comes, we'll do it. We'll make another party after that.
Yes.
Beautiful. Let me just go through a couple like rapid fire questions here for fun. Cool, yeah?
Yes.
Typical breakfast.
Typical breakfast? I don't know. I don't eat breakfast.
You don't eat? Okay, or lunch.
Yeah, lunch.
No? Okay.
Typical lunch here, 小笼包.
Nice, okay. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Okay. Go-to food in the Taiwan night market?
Oh, in night market?
Yeah.
Ji Pai.
Oh, and then how about in Taiwan, all Taiwan?
In all Taiwan?
Yeah.
小笼包.
Oh, 小笼包 for life. Okay.
Yeah.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Okay. You know, out of 100 people, it's like 99 Apple.
Yeah.
Favorite city in Taiwan?
Taipei.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like it. I love Taipei. A favorite movie?
School of Rock.
Oh, what? That's such a great one. I showed that to my daughter a couple years ago, and she loves it, and we just quote it all day.
I know every line.
It's so
Quote
good.
it like top of my head.
So good. That was a freaking great movie.
Great
Awesome.
movie.
Dream job?
Dream job?
Or are you living it?
I guess I'm living it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Last one. Most inspirational person in your life. That's the toughest one, I think.
Most inspirational person in my life?
Yeah.
That I know, or like
Oh,
that
it doesn't
inspires
matter.
me?
It could be someone that inspires you.
Porter Robinson.
Okay.
Without a doubt. I mean, I'm seeing him tonight. I've pretty much traveled the world, like following him in the last year and just going to all of his shows, because his recent album, Nurture Live, was the reason that inspired me to produce music.
That's awesome.
So without me seeing his EDC set, I don't think I would have pursued it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that. I love when you find something that it's like a turning point where it's like almost like a fork where you realize afterward that you took the right way.
It was a huge fork.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I love that.
It was a big awakening after that moment.
Very cool. Very cool. I love it. So just a couple more, and we're just about done. I know you're busy.
Right.
Do you have like a memorable moment, some kind of a moment where you're like in your career where you're like, yes, what we just kind of talked about it, but yeah, maybe that one, maybe a different one.
I think it's probably at LA3C for sure.
Okay.
I mean, Life is Beautiful was a big moment too, because that was my first big festival, and I got booked for it literally a week before, and I just remember being on stage. I shared the stage with Joel Kim Booster, amazing comedian. Go watch his Netflix special if you guys want to watch it. He's really funny.
Okay.
And just meeting him and then being on that stage, I was just like, there's no way this is real.
Okay.
I won't forget getting the artist wristband. That's, I think, the big one. I got the artist wristband, picking it up, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm an artist." Do you have it
framed somewhere now?
Yeah, I have it framed. I'm actually trying to collect as many as I can, and then we're gonna frame them in like a big frame.
Beautiful.
But I have the packet it came with and the wristband, and that's my first artist pass, and I'll never forget it.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. I appreciate it. I mean, is there anything you think that we missed? I mean, I think we got a lot of good stuff in there.
You did amazing research, so no, I don't think so.
I've been following you for a long time, and
yeah,
and I was pretty stoked to hear that you were coming here. Hopefully, could get you on the podcast, and I appreciate you making time.
Of course, thank you for having me.
You're feeling better? Yeah, I know you
Yeah.
got a little sick. Yeah, all good.
That was a long bronchitis recovery.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it, and thank you guys for watching. I will share your Instagram and all the good stuff, the TikTok.
Yes.
In the description below after this. Yeah, appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you for coming. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.